Newcastle United are slowly but surely improving their youth setup. With the inductions of Rory Finneran, Leo Saha, Alfie Harrison, there is one player that did stand out in pre-season, and that is young 17-year-old Trevan Sanusi. Sanusi joined Newcastle United from the Birmingham City Academy, and in pre-season just gone, he showed glimpses of what fans can expect, and they were quite impressed. Now, I'm here today to tell you about his strengths, his style of play, and areas for improvement given his age. Welcome back to another Scout Report, and today we're going to be looking at Newcastle United's little gem. So if you are returning here or new here, make sure you support this channel by hitting the like button. And if you enjoyed this video at the end, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Before we get on to his style of play, it's important to understand what type of formation Newcastle United youth set up play, and that's a 4-3-3, and Sanusi normally plays wide left of a front three or wide right of a front three. And we're going to touch upon how his game adapts depending on where he's playing. Well, the first thing you notice about him is he's a blistering quick agile dribbler. He's got a blur of body feints, a lovely drop of the shoulder, but every dribble, every movement has purpose. Every step over is measured, every nutmeg is intentional. Newcastle United have really got an exceptional transition player. There's two things that stand out when he's dribbling. His dribbling is his best asset. He's got pace and abundance. He's got ankle break and balance. His agility is wonderful, which makes him an excellent technical player. Now, it's quite easy to run out of compliments when you're watching him dribble, because he's got a unique blend of technical prowess and creative flair. So what I'm saying is, if you're defending against him, expect to be committed into a challenge before he quickly changes direction or outwits you with a feint. But if he ever receives a ball in behind you, forget about it, because you're done by raw pace. Now, everything I talk about here is incredibly raw. You've got to remember he's only 17 years old, but everything I touch upon is everything that he likes to do on a football pitch. Now, one of the main characteristics that the youngster possesses, he likes to create imbalances in the opposition's defense. First, to play at a high tempo, and he's got a direct running style. He's incredibly dynamic. One of his greatest qualities is his one-on-one dribbling. His electric speed and acceleration enables him to fly past opponents. He likes to have the ball at his feet, and you can tell he thrives in these situations. His ability to accelerate and deaccelerate is frightening. He can chop and change his speed in an instant. So don't forget, he's incredibly dynamic, and he's got an incredible ball coordination and body feints. This allows him to lead counter-attacks. When you've got a player with his impulse on the ball, he always seems to find a way. Now, Sanusi's got a variety of different preferences in terms of how he likes to attack the opposition, and those preferences are based on where he's situated on the pitch. So, for instance, when he's played wide right, he's more of a traditional winger. He likes to get around the fullback on the outside, hit the byline, and look to send an inviting cross into the penalty area. This can be a negative and a positive. The negative is if he comes up against a fullback that can match him for speed, he's only got, it limits his dribbling, and it allows the fullback to predict exactly what he's going to do every time he receives the ball. And since it can match him for speed, 9 times out of 10, he's not going to be successful. However, he does have the ability to counteract this because of his ability to modulate his speed, because he's so good at accelerating, deaccelerating, chopping, dropping his shoulder. He can make it look like he's going on the inside, off balancing the fullback before changing the point of direction, going on the outside, and he's created that separation to then cut inside or just send an inviting cross into the box. Sanusi is a high-volume dribbler who's full of life and confidence. And what I like about him the most is his personality when he's on the ball. If a dribble doesn't come off, he will try again, just showing great charisma and personality. He's generally a dribbling machine, but I think he's far more effective playing on the left-hand side because he's right-footed. He's got that ability to become a two-way dribbler. So what I mean by that, he can come inside, create chances by technically linking up with players, or you can go on the outside, hit the byline, and instantly just cause unpredictable chaos to the opposition. Dribbling's a huge part of Sanusi's game, and he's extremely effective during transition moments. Now, when he's playing on the left, everything becomes more natural to him. His ability to open up more angles, which makes him an extremely decisive dribbler. He can pull wide, isolate his fullback, beating them with skill and stop and starts. And when he sees an opening, he makes no hesitation to explode into it. Or he can come inside and use technical dribbling style to keep the ball well under pressure and link up with teammates. So his technique and speed help him excel in many different kinds of dribbles. He can carry the ball extremely well in open spaces, but he also keeps the ball well under pressure in tight spaces. So he's great in one-on-one close at the touchline, but he also carries the ball skillfully in central areas under intense pressure as well. Where I think he's at his most dangerous is when he receives the ball with his back to the sideline. This allows him to receive the ball with an open body shape. And when you combine that with an absurd change of pace, he's got potential to change moments in a game instantly. So he's got the choice, really. He can either blast past opponents with his speed, or he can cut in the middle and take a more technical dribbling approach. This unique style really keeps defenders on the toes. So what's it mean in terms of a team structure? It's incredibly valuable because not only does he isolate fullbacks, he also draws in pressure towards him. So often teams will double up against him. That'll free up space or free up a teammate elsewhere. Now, when it comes to pace and acceleration, Sanusi has crazy athleticism and constantly beats opponents over the first 5 meters. When you combine that with good technical ability, ball control and quick feet, it allows him to fix his opposing fullback to a spot before beating them one-on-one. Now, Antonio, this is all good, you ask, but does he have an end product? Now, let's be real. He showed glimpses of a good end product, but the consistency isn't there. His final third decision-making needs to improve. But what I would say in his defense, I would probably say this about 99.9% of young footballers. Now, before we get on to his movement, I want to talk about his decision-making, which can be very off, sometimes choosing the wrong options or slightly overhitting or underhitting passes and crosses. There's times where he does dribble with his head down, just having his head up and looking for runners will just make him more decisive with that killer ball. He does an excellent job in the hard work and beating his man. But once he gets into that final third territory, he kind of just sends inviting balls into the box rather than trying to pick out a man. So just playing with his head up a little more will allow him to be more decisive and make more rapid decision making. Now, to give him the benefit of the doubt where his decision making is excellent is when he's dribbling or beating opponents. He's so confident in just enticing opponents into a challenge before he just outwits them with a feint. That's where he just shows rapid decision making. So if he can transition that into his final end product. Now, in terms of tactically, Sanusi is showing really good signs, especially when he's in his deeper area, when he receives close at the halfway line. He shows good signs of when to recycle possession, when to dribble and try and beat his man. You'll often see him taking a touch with the outside of his right foot just to come inside before switching the play to the opposing fullback or winger. He does this for two reasons. One reason, because he's a winger himself, so he understands the importance of receiving the ball early so you can isolate your fullback. And the second reason is to change the point and direction of the attack. This just simply unbalances the opposing defense. Eddie Howe is a manager that will love this because he's a tactical manager. He likes his players to do the right things. And that's exactly the signs that Sanusi is shown. Although it's incredibly raw, the potential is absolutely clear to see. Now, this leads us nicely on to his ball striking. Very rarely will we see him come inside when he's playing on the right-hand side and shoot with his left foot. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen him strike the ball with his left foot. That's a bit of a joke because I probably have when I think about it. But He doesn't do it very often is what I'm trying to say. He's not a high volume shooter. Now that just tells me he's not confident in his ball striking. I think he does have the ability and the technical qualities are there, but he just needs that composure and substance that he's going to work the goalkeeper or beat the goalkeeper. Now, one thing I do notice about his ball striking, he doesn't steady himself before he does it. When he's dribbling to top speed, everything happens so quick for him. He just needs to have more composure and just ready himself before he strikes a ball. And this will give him more substance where he places his shots. And then this leads us nicely on to another area he can improve on, and that is arriving in the box at late or finding space in the box. He needs to be more attentive and alert on when to arrive in the box. Often we'll see him not arriving late at the back post to get onto chances. But where I think he can be clinical is if you sit him in and around the penalty area, just picking up on those loose balls, getting those second strikes off, looking for deflections, trying to slot the ball home. I think he can be very decisive in that sort of area. I don't think he's got the physicality to challenge for a ball in the air. So if he just hangs off maybe 5 or 10, well, about 5 yards, he can pick up those loose balls very well. And then he's got the technical qualities to create separation and get a strike off. Now, one thing I will say to him, to give him the benefit of the doubt, he's definitely shown glimpses. His first goal for the under-21s against Chelsea was an absolute dream. He shrugged off the contact from an opposing player. He set himself, created that yard of space, and then he shot the ball beautifully into the bottom corner. And that was a wonderful strike, but it was with his right foot. Like I'm saying, we very rarely see it on his left foot, and I think that's why he's more dangerous on the left wing, where he can cut inside, maybe get a shot off, or just create more havoc to the opposition. Now, before we get on to his off-ball qualities, one more area I would like to touch upon in his movement. I think he's very good receiving the ball out wide or creating width for his team. I think he's excellent at that. What I would like to see more of, two-way movement. Alexander Isak is a genius at two-way movement. Movement is a big part of football. It's something that you can't quantify through stats, but moving the opposition out of their position to create space for others to exploit is extremely valuable in a football game. So what I would like to see more of from Sanusi is something similar to what Alexander Isak is a genius at. Coming to receive short, knowing you're not going to get the ball, creating that space in behind and doing a spin and you exploiting that space. I would love to see Sanusi use his pace to get in behind the opposition. I think he can be extremely dangerous in these situations. Now, when he's on the left-hand side, he does a good job in occupying the central half spaces. But when he's on the right-hand side, he's more of a touchline winger. Maybe just making a variety in these movements will make him more effective because he'll become more unpredictable. So in general sense, he does like to start out wide to receive the ball. I think he's so dangerous when he does this, but he just needs more variety in his game. He does a good job in dropping short to receive the ball and trying to cover large amounts of space. He's got a wonderful step count when he's dribbling, so teammates trust him in these situations. Now, the last thing I want to touch upon, and it works hand in hand with another thing I want to touch upon, and that is his defensive work and his physicality. Physicality-wise, he needs to improve. Eddie Howe even said it in himself. He's not ready for men's football, and that's why he wasn't loaned out. And to be perfectly honest, I think I agree with him. He needs to learn how to use his body better to absorb contact and protect the ball and shield the ball when he's dribbling. This allows him to receive with his back to goal and allow him to roll his marker and just eliminate them out of the game on his first touch. Not only that, utilising his body will also help him bring other teammates into the game more effectively as well. So generally, the use of his body will go a long way in men's football. One thing I do want to give him his props on the defensive side is his work rate. He's extremely tentative, tenacious, and he works hard and he does track back. So you've got to give him the credit he deserves in that aspect. But his tackling and his challenging of opponents is quite low and the consistency isn't there yet. So overall in the defensive game, he does well in participating in the press. He presses opponents. He uses his pace well to try and force turnovers in the final third, which is extremely impressive. But he just needs to learn how to time his tackles better and intercept a bit better. So just before you go, I want to touch upon one more aspect of his game. And I think he does. I talked about his passing being weak. It's not weak. It's just his final ball can be. When he's linking up play in and around the box, he's excellent. Those short two combinations with teammates, those give and goes, he loves all that kind of stuff. And that's extremely valuable because it allows you to play around the press. But if he can refine his decision making, develop a little bit more physically, which he will because he's only 17, so he hasn't even filled out his body yet, I've got no doubt he can transition into men's football superbly. He's transitioned from the under-18s to the under-21s, which people might not think is a big jump, but it is when you're only 17 years old. Has been very seamless. But Newcastle United are getting a very exciting, ferocious dribbler. Somebody that can make nothing moments into moments. I'm incredibly excited to see his development because I think with experience, he's just going to get better and better. He's got the solid base that you want for an exciting young winger. He's got the flair, he's got the pace, he's got the agility, he's got the ball control, he's got the step count, he's got everything you want in a young winger. He just needs to refine those little tweaks, make those little tweaks to his game. So I don't blame Newcastle United fans by getting excited by a young talent like this. So there we go, guys. There is the end of the episode. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if you have, make sure you support this channel by hitting the like button, hit that subscribe button. And once again, I just want to say I know time is precious. So I hope you've enjoyed this and I really do appreciate your time. Thank you very much.